So, as many of you are probably aware, Nel has been around the space for quite some time now. They've been at Hanover Fair for the past 10 years or so. Their booth is located right in the corner here. But for some of you that may be new to this space or new to the industry, specifically talking about integrated energy, perhaps you can give us a bit of an overview and history of the organization.
Yes, thank you, absolutely. And thank you for having me and listening in. So within Nel, we basically do electrolyzers and hydrogen stations and have been doing that for quite some years. So on hydrogen stations, we started that back in 2003. On electrolyzers, it goes back to 1927 with the alkaline electrolyzers, and in the late 1990s of our PEM electrolyzers. So we really have a lot of history within our group. We're now a joint group within Nel, and what we're doing is basically getting ready for this rapid growth that we are all here expecting on this exhibition.
So when you say rapid growth, can you kind of explain to some of us what your different market applications are for some of your technology? I know you've got some new products that we want to talk about, but historically, like, what applications are you involved in? I know that you guys have an interesting organizational structure now, and if you want to maybe touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so talking specifically on hydrogen stations, so the market has traditionally been for fuel cell cars. So we are active in providing stations and servicing them here in Europe, in California, and in Korea as well. However, we must say that the expected ramp-up rate starting in 2015, that many of us here expected to happen, didn't quite happen the way we wanted it to be. At least in Europe, meaning that we actually see a slowdown in the sales of more car stations in the European market, maybe with the acceptance of Germany, little Norway, Netherlands coming as well. But besides that, it's not growing much. When we look at the number of fuel cell cars on the road in Europe and compare that to California. So in California, I just checked the numbers this morning. It's around about 160 cars per station installed. In Europe, it seems like it's around about 10 cars per station installed. No genies to do the math if that's a good business case or not.
And why do you think that is? Like, what is it particularly around Europe that's a bit in challenge and kind of limiting the growth compared to North America?
So in California, there's the zero-emission vehicle mandate, which basically puts pressure on the car manufacturers to deliver a certain percentage of their cars being with zero emission. And they have managed to make it possible for fuel cell cars to really have high levels of credits, which motivates the car manufacturers to deliver cars. So this is the market where Toyota, Honda, and now Hyundai are really delivering vehicles. In Europe, it's to some extent the opposite, at least the EU countries, because they're basically I think it's great to do with Merkel and her power in Brussels that basically moved the requirements of the CO2 emissions from the fleet of vehicles, so that it's not really necessary to come with a large number of battery electric or fuel cell vehicles before 2025. So that's what we are seeing. Naturally, we want to sell stations, and we continue to develop stations for light-duty vehicles. However, what we are presenting today is really about the heavy-duty applications.
Yeah, and in terms of the H2 Hydrogen Duplex, like what is the benefit? What is the technical advantage, and what are you hoping to achieve with it? What issue within the market are you going to address with that?
So firstly, when talking about heavy-duty, it's very clear that you need robust stations that has a very high availability and performance. And with the H2Station technology that we have from Nel, where we have our own technologies that makes it possible to optimize them and give the required high performance and availability, we can hit the markets for buses, for trucks, for train fills here in Europe. We see that as being the market where we will have early offtake, and offtake meaning a lot of hydrogen throughput. So instead of having 10 cars per station, which would then be something like 5 kilograms a day on a station, if you have a utilized bus station, you can rather quickly go for 1,000 kilograms a day. And if you have 1,000 kilograms going through your station, but also going through your hydrogen value chain from the hydrogen distribution and hydrogen production, hopefully from our electrolyzers, then you can actually start to make that into business cases.
And in terms of the business case, like what does that mean for the end consumer? Like what kind of benefits can they hope to expect from something like this entering the marketplace?
So the term that we have introduced within Nel is fossil parity. And fossil parity basically means that the hydrogen you dispense out of your dispenser should basically have the same or better price as the comparable gasoline, diesel, or battery electric vehicle. So the cost per kilometer should be the same or better. Otherwise, you'll not have the necessary offtake. Then it's going to take too long time. It's still going to be demonstration. It's going to be small fleets. Demonstration, small fleets, it doesn't go well with high capacity and thereby hitting the right hydrogen price.
So with fossil parity, in order to be achieved in Europe, what do you think the timeline is going to be about that? I know that there's a lot of stages that are required, but can you kind of touch on that a little bit in more detail, especially for some of the people in here that aren't necessarily familiar with that space?
Yeah, so with respect to the fossil parity, we basically managed to hit that last year. And that means if we have sufficient throughput through electrolyzers, distribution, and hydrogen stations, now with our H2Station low-pressure duplex that we're introducing as an example for bus fleets here in Europe, it's doable to hit the fossil parity. But it's not going to work with 1, 2, 5 buses. It's going to be a big fleet. When getting close to the 100 buses, you'll get there.
Can you talk a little bit of some of the projects you're involved in here in Europe and then also North America regarding this? Do you have any?
So yeah, we have a few projects, of course. So when talking specifically about the heavy-duty projects, probably a few of you are familiar with our cooperation with Nikola. I would invite all of you to either join or at least follow online for the Nikola World in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be pretty amazing. Secondly, we have worked on hydrogen train projects, also right here in Germany, because that's also a very, very interesting application for an application running for many years, 30 years, and there it would be possible to have an interesting case. And finally, and probably the project we have worked most on here in Europe, that's for hydrogen buses. So we have managed to get a project called H2 Bus Europe, where we basically have 3 countries, and we want to have more, but starting with 3 countries, where in each country, we, together with partners, will be establishing centralized electrolyzers between 10 and 20 megawatts, high-pressure distribution, and then up to 200 buses in each country. When doing that, we will get the green hydrogen production, and we will be able to get very close to the fossil parity at the dispenser.
And you're anticipating that to be kind of in place by 2020 or 2025? Or what is the timeline on this particular project? Because you said in terms of the 200 buses in a country right now, or the target, where are you right now, and how long do you anticipate to reach those targets?
So the target is to get those vehicles in operation in the period between 2020 and 2023. So the ambitions that we have actually set publicly are that we want to hit 1,000 buses by the end of 2023. We have secured funding for the first 600 buses for UK, for Denmark, and for Latvia. And we are looking for partners in other countries that are willing to walk the talk. It should not be just for the fun and for the demonstration of it. It should be to really make the bus business happen. So large fleet, large operators, if they're ready, they should get in contact with us.
And what type of partners are you looking for right now? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because there's so many different applications here, and there's so many different organizations. Like which parts are you more interested in right now? So
what we can see are that if we take the complete value chain, meaning starting from electrolyzers and then to the end of the dispenser, and we build up a project together with partners there. What we are lacking in each country is basically the clean energy, so the electricity. 40 euros per megawatt hour is what we need, all included. And here in Germany, that would include EEG, if you have EEG. When you hit that price level, you can get close to the fossil parity of the 5 euros per kilogram. So energy suppliers, and then we need bus operators, being the operators of traditional buses that would be ready to slowly exchange their fleet with hydrogen buses.
Great, so a lot of opportunities for some of the local companies here and also a lot of the international. Does anyone have any questions at all? I'm going to open it up to the floor for any questions that may have been following Nel for the last 10 years, and if they have anything to ask. Any questions? I'll come to you. If you can please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Ascari from Hydrogen Sweden. Could you please give the number of the buses once again to make a business case in Europe?
So for H2 Bus Europe, that's 600 buses that we are achieving to put a project together with partners.
Any other questions from the audience at all? No? Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. If you do decide to ask more follow-up questions, Nel is located right here directly to the right of our stage here. So please go visit their booth and ask them lots of questions and get in touch about future partnerships. Thank you so much.